What is consumerism? Starting in the age of industrialization in the 20th century, consumerism is a preoccupation of society with the acquisition of consumer goods. It can be known as the excessive purchase of goods and services in large amount. In this first painting, consumerism is represented as the constant need or thought of spending money on unnecessary things or on unnecessary amounts. The second image represents the consumerism in teenagers and younger people, romanticizing overly spending and shopping. Consumerism versus minimalism. These two are usually seen as opposites, and it's right. The most common definition to consumerism is crowding yourself with the things which do not play only part in your daily routine life. It's basically the greed and lust of things. Now, the most common attributes to minimalism are simplicity, clarity, and singleness. It can be defined as a tool which is able to help you achieve freedom. Freedom meaning from desires, overbuying, etc. A few key expressions connected to minimalism are anti-consumerism and only needs. Minimalism is usually connected with design and lifestyle. As it shows in the picture, having a minimalism lifestyle is having just what's needed in a simple and monochromatic space and mindset. Now, did you know that the rights to consumerism are a real thing? You actually have rights while buying stuff. Not only the right to return a sweater if it doesn't fit, but many more. Here are some of them. The right to choose. The consumer must be given access to a variety of goods and services. That way, there are a lot of options to compare and choose from. Then, we have the right to safety, which is the right to be protected against what can put you in danger, or your health. For example, cars or vehicles with flaws can lead to accidents, or technology and electronic products can cause explosions. The right to be heard combines other rights, like the right to choose or the right of safety. But it means that consumers have the right to be questioned by organizations, such as the government, when it comes to evaluations or complaints. Then we have the right to be informed, that says the consumer must be provided with information about quantity, quality, and most important, the prices of the goods or services in cost. Fortunately, it has become more and more frequent of the brands to give out all of the information, like data of expiry, precautions to be taken, the contents of the product, etc. Lastly, the right to redress is the ability to dress and retry clothes or products in order to find the right one. And finally, we have examples of situations where consumerism can be found. First, of course, we have Christmas. This graphic does not show data since the year 2019, meaning it also doesn't include data from the pandemic years. These values show us the abundance of purchases made during the holiday season and the way in which promotions and lower prices are used. As you can see, consumers resort to promotions to convince themselves they're spending less money buying more stuff. Next, we have Black Friday. We all know Black Friday is now linked to the chaos and urge to buy stuff taking advantage of the lower prices. And lastly, we have malls and shopping centers. This is an example of a mall, in this case, the world's largest mall in Dubai. Malls and shopping centers are dangerous places for consumers because it feeds the need to overbuy.
Factors influencing consumer behavior. How are we influenced by consumerism? For companies to remain firm and strong, it is necessary to know what influences consumer behavior and, based on this valuable information, analyze what makes a customer refuse a product or accept it. New tendencies. Some brands exert great power over the consumer. Each year we can observe changes in collections from all seasons with different fabric cuts and colors that vary a lot in a short period of time. So, keeping up with the new trends is important so that your competition doesn't leave your mark behind. Opinion of other consumers. Nowadays, it's much easier to know if a product really delivers what it promises, isn't it? In order to consult information about the quality and delivery of products and services, potential customers carry out Several surveys on evaluation platforms and on the main social networks of companies, which influence their decision and their purchasing behavior. Today, consumers have more sources of information about the product or service they consume, which consequently makes them more demanding with the quality and the value of what they buy, and with the agility, this ends up being a part of the purchase process. Analyzing the opinion of other consumers or not buying a product because you saw complaints about it on social media are typical examples of factors influencing the purchase decision. There are also the buying behaviors. One of them is the rational, which is the consumer who knows what is buying and compares the prices. There are also the impulsive one, which the consumer who buys just to feel the sensation of pleasure immediate, and there are the compulsive, which the consumer who has the vicious of buying, a symptom of social disorder. Happiness can be achieved through the products that are consumed. This behavior can be delivered from several factors, such as family structure, materialism, socialization, demographic aspects, self-esteem, anxiety, and introversion. A study was carried out with 226 adolescents aged 13 to 18 years, and the results showed that the highest factors were materialism, socialization, anxiety, introversion, compulsive parental behavior, and socioeconomic status. The prices. Consumerism is internally linked to the price of the goods as it varies according to people's consumption. A general rise in prices of materials presupposes a decrease in the purchasing power of households if their income is maintained. The situation forces consumers to give up non-essential consumption, allocating more of their money to purchases that really matter. Consumerism in the pandemic. The consumerism habits of 45% of the Portuguese underwent changes during the pandemic. More than half of respondents say that they have made more purchases online in the last 6 months, with 31% saying that the new practices are here to stay. This change in habits of the part of the Portuguese people had a special focus on women and younger people between 18 and 24 years old. According to the survey carried out by AGEAS Portugal and Eurogroup Consulting Portugal, with the aim of identifying emerging trends in the context of COVID-19. This period also served as an upgrade for the Portuguese, as they were locked out at home and their income ended up decreasing due to telework sometimes not being as effective. People began to reflect on the purchases they made and whether it is really necessary. As I mentioned it before, they gave more importance to the products that are really essential.
As pretty much anyone can observe, one of the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic is represented by consumer behavior changes that appeared, broadly speaking, one, by decrease, so as a result of containment efforts such as lockdowns, with consumers, for example, not being allowed to eat at restaurants even if they wanted to, due to such establishments no longer being open. Or two, by choice, so as a result of individuals choosing to change their behavior, so as to either protect themselves against the virus, such as, for example, Swedish citizens choosing not to go to the cinema despite being allowed to, or as a reaction to job loss or financial insecurity, like, for example, cutting back on non-essential expenses when storm clouds are gathering. Some observers pointed out that at the end of the day, perhaps it's not a bad thing that consumption habits are changing, as people tone down consumerism a notch or two and focus on what they actually need. From a philosophical perspective, it may very well make sense, but from an economic one, and as strange as it may sound, it's a very bad thing, at least short and mid-term speaking, if people stop buying arguably useless stuff. Why? Simply because our current economic system would crumble if everyone were to become a more quote-unquote responsible consumer because 1. Businesses that sell non-essential products and services make far less money or even go bankrupt, with their employees as well as shareholders suffering. 2. The businesses that work with those companies would suffer as well, as would their employees and shareholders. And 3. All of these entities would be in such financial pain that they would cut spending themselves, including, you've guessed it, spending on essential products and services, which leads to even quote-unquote safe businesses taking a major hit due to this strongly deflationary force. In the long run, a case could of course be made that the market would once again find balance, or even that an unsustainable consumerist system would perhaps be replaced with a better one. But even if that were to happen, and it's a major if, there would be significant short and midterm turbulence involved. So frankly, and as a conclusion, you have no choice but to prepare.
The consequences of consumerism. Compulsive shopping disorder, it is the name given to disorder presented by people who have the addiction to buy. This can be a serious consequence if consumerism conduct is prolonged. Financial problems are also a serious problem. The consumer is beginning to buy more than he can afford, so this accumulates debts and more debts. When all expectations are placed on consumption, one runs the risk of losing the true meaning of things. People are valued by the goods they own. Therefore, those who have no assets are no longer appreciated. Consumerist behavior can be quite uncomfortable for people around, especially if there is a bunch together, such as in a wedding. The fact that the partner or companion buys items that they do not need generates a series of disagreements, which can trigger. Of all the consequences of consumerism, the most serious is related to the environment. It is less and less possible of our planet to support the system use, discard, buy again. We are destroying the earth to satisfy our pleasures, and the proof of that is climate change. With the large amount of options and the high technology, the products have a shorter and shorter service life, which generates a large number of electronic waste. Thus, environmental education is an important step towards sustainable development. I can conclude that the consequences of rampant consumption are many, so the population must start paying more attention to this problem, which is so talked about but so little solved.
Hello everyone. Well, as you can see, we are here in one of Mana's stores, and even though they were interesting to work with us, we decided to show you one of their stores and to share the brand with you. First of all, we have here the logo. There is a globe. There is basically a globe. There's say people to people. And now let's go inside to show you more. The store is divided by type of clothes, and those clothes are divided by genres or season of the year. Also, they sometimes do like crazy promotion where all the pieces are €1 or something like so.
Det har vi alltid gjort, så det är vunnit hela dagen.
Oh, it's important to mention that all of these pieces are second-hand clothes, so they are reused. And don't worry, because all of them are disinfected and go through a selection process.
Det har vi alltid gjort, så det
By choosing to buy and sell in this type of stores, we are helping to combat the consumerism.
ska vara det bra, ja. Att hakterna
So here we are in the men's zone, or what you want to call it, and there you have some shoes. Here you have some sports stuff for men with a lot of colors. We have a lot of different type of clothes. There you have some sports clothes for women, and that's it. The only thing needed is come with time and have fun to choose the clothes.
det har vi alltid gjort, så det är vunnit
So, after all of this, the only thing that I want to share
is that they have several stores, some in Lisbon, others in the port, and the only thing needed is to research and visit one of their stores.
Bye bye.